Your nervous system is on the front line of every shift that happens in your life. Before you can name what's happening, your body already knows something's different. That is not woo, that's just how we're wired. So, heading into a year like this, the practice isn't more information, it's not more podcasts, more books, more input. It's dropping into your body and actually asking it what it needs right now. Not what your mind thinks you should want, what your body is actually asking for.
Welcome to the Anniston Riekstins Show. This space is created for the woman coming home to her voice, her power, her way. For the woman remembering who she really is, beneath the noise, beneath the roles, beneath the world's expectations. I'm Anniston, transformational guide, spiritual teacher, best-selling author, and creator, here to walk beside you, to share stories, wisdom, and energy that guide you back home. Here, we lead from the inside out. We create from overflow, not hustle. We rise not by becoming someone else, but by remembering who we've always been. This isn't just a podcast. It's a homecoming. So let's dive in.
Hey there, sister, and welcome back to the Anniston Riekstins Show. I am so excited that you're tuning in today. I have something really special for you because we're officially 6 months into this year, into 2026, halfway through, which feels like a really good time to just stop for a second, not to rush into the next 6 months, but to actually look at where we are. So that's what today's episode is. I'm taking a break from unpacking my house as we have just moved from Wilmington, North Carolina to Bozeman, Montana to record this episode because I don't want to miss this opportunity. And more importantly, I don't want you to miss this opportunity. This is a check-in. First, it's going to be personal and then collective because we're not doing this in a vacuum. There is a bigger energy moving through all of us right now, too. Then I'm going to give you a few questions to actually sit with, not just listen to and forget, but actually sit with and process. And then towards the end, I want to start previewing something about 2027 because 2027 is coming and it's going to be a big one. And I have been sitting with it for a while now, and I want to start bringing you into the energy of 2027 now because it's important. So let's go ahead and just dive right in. I want you to actually think back first. Let's just start by thinking back to January of this year. Not like a vague sense of, oh yeah, I had some goals, but I mean really go back there. What did you want this year to be? What did you tell yourself, or maybe tell someone else that you were going to do, to complete, to accomplish, or become, or finally let go of? Now I want you to hold that up against where you actually are right now. Does it match? Has it gone completely differently? Because both of those are fine, by the way. This isn't about grading yourself or shaming yourself or giving yourself another reason to point the finger and feel like you failed. It's just about getting honest. And a lot of us walk through 6 months on autopilot and don't check the map until we're already somewhere unexpected. So this is just about noticing. That's all this part is. I just want you to notice. Now, alongside the universal year we're all moving through together, you also have your own personal year number. It's yours alone, and it cycles independently 1 through 9 year after year. You can calculate your personal year number. This is based off of Western numerology by adding your birth month and birth day to the current year, then reducing that number down to a single digit. I'm not going to walk you through the math on air. You can find a calculator for that anywhere. But I do want to give you a quick sense of what each number actually means for those of you who are new to personal year numbers, so you can identify what personal year you are in, because it is serving to be the energetic weather that you are living through. It's your great big energetic invitation for this year. And having understanding of it can give context to so many of your experiences, especially if you're only discovering it halfway through this year. So once you land on yours, then you'll know what you're working with. So if you're in a one personal year like myself, this is a year of new beginnings, fresh starts, planting seeds, stepping into your own initiative. Couple notes on this. This is not the year that all the seeds are necessarily going to plant. This is the year where you have officially released what no longer serves, what no longer is relevant or supportive for you, and are actively, consciously, intentionally planting seeds for new things to grow. New initiatives, new ideas, new identities, new relationships, a new home. It can come in so many different forms. If you're in a two personal year, this year will slow things right down for you. And there's an obvious turn towards relationship, partnership, cooperation. It's going to ask you to be patient. I always say in a 2 year, pack your patience. Relationships take the front seat. And this is really a year that's going to show you where are the cracks in the foundation of your relationships? Where are the unsaid, unfelt emotions? They will bubble to the surface. It's a very intuitive year, but a marked difference in energy from the 1 year. The three personal year is about expression, creative expression. It's about creativity, socializing. It's probably the most joyful year, I would say. But this is also a year that's going to bring up a lot of self doubt for you. It's going to bring up any areas where you don't feel comfortable expressing your truth or sharing your creative expression. It's a year that's going to ask a lot from you in terms of getting out and speaking and being heard and being seen. So it can be fun, but it can also be challenging. In a four personal year, it's about building the foundation. It's about structure, discipline, the unglamorous work everything else stands on. It's the bricklaying year that is so necessary, but not always the most fun. But it's so, so important because the 5 year is about change. So, based on the structure that you've built, you start to be able to experience freedom from that. The 5 year is the wild card year. If you're in a 5 year, likely there have been some unanticipated changes that have come. And it is totally normal to question that and to fear change, but know that anything that comes and changes and pivots this year is very fated and very destined. And your control here is how you respond to it, is to not let your mind tell a bad story, but instead tell an empowering one. If you're in a six personal year, this centers around responsibility, home, family, service, love. It asks you to show up for others. Likely, there has been something in your life that has called for more of your attention, more of your energy as it relates to giving to other people. And the challenge is to hold your boundaries and not become a doormat, not become the martyr, and to maintain self-love, self-respect, and self-balance in the process of serving other people. If you're in a seven personal year, this year has pulled you inward. It has pulled you into introspection, rest, study. You might have felt a little bit more inclined to spend time alone, a little less social, but it's a year that's going to ask you to trust. It's going to ask you to expand your spiritual consciousness and understanding of who you are in this world and what you're here to do. And that's preparing you for the eight personal year, which is about external expansion. So first comes the internal expansion, then the 8 year comes, and it's about external expansion, and the speed is markedly different. You will notice that a lot of times you might be given an opportunity you don't feel prepared for. You're going to be asked, where do you give your power away? You're going to be asked, where do you stand as it relates to abundance? The 8 is as above, so below. It's the infinity symbol, right? And so anything that is you, any of your beliefs are just going to be externalized around those topics. And so, even though the 8 is about the external world and expansion and business and money, you better believe it's still going to ask you to do the inner work, because that's where you're going to get the biggest change. And then your 9 personal year, you're wrapping it up. This is a year of completion, of letting go, closing chapters, clearing space for the next 1 year to begin. It can feel a little bit heavy and hard if you are grasping and holding on to parts of your identity that are begging to be let go of, or relationships that have run their course, or jobs or situations or experiences that are done. That are done. And it would be like if you were in first grade and never wanted to leave first grade because you were so afraid that nothing else would come, or that life wouldn't continue and that you would be losing something. Well, we're made to continue to evolve and change. And so the 9 year helps you do that. There are some master number years. When you added up your birth month and your birthday with the birth year and it added up to 11, you will not reduce that, or 22 or 33. So usually it's just 11 and 22. If you're in an 11 year, this is a year that's asking you to really trust your intuition. It's a spiritual illumination year for you. It's going to show you a lot about yourself, a lot about your path and your life. And that can feel confronting sometimes. It can feel heavy. It can feel like a lot. It's the death to life theme. And I'm not meaning literally, but I am meaning figuratively. Like the things that need to die in order for you to truly live. And so this is a year that's a milestone year. Usually there's big things that happen in this year or come into your life in this year, or that you have these big aha moments in this year. So just breathe and regulate, because the 11 has a lot of energy. It's going to require even more intentional nervous system regulation. If you're in a 22 personal year, this is a legacy year. This is a legacy building year. This is a year that's going to ask you to build things that feel so freaking big to you, that are overwhelming, that you're going to have that voice in your head that's saying, this is too much. I can't handle it. Oh my gosh. I have a client right now who's in a 22 year, and she is doing it with so much grace. But man, is she creating a lot, and man, is she building a lot. And it is tiring and exhausting. And every day she gets up and thinks, what am I doing? Right. But at the end of this year, she's going to look back and be so grateful for it. And because she rose to the occasion, and that's the invitation, is to continue to rise to the occasion, focus on what's in front of you for the day, and don't get overwhelmed by the bigness of the vision. And that wraps that up. So I just wanted to give you guys a summary on what your personal year is, because even if you already knew what it was, being able to go back and think about it through this lens and look back at the last 6 months, what has shown up for you? As you get closer to your actual birthday, the energy will increase. Your birthday is where it peaks. And then after your birthday, it starts to kind of wane very, very, very slowly. If you're like me and you have your birthday in the very beginning of the year, it's likely you'll start feeling the next year's energy before the new year even starts. Hey, sister, let's take a quick pause because I want to tell you about something I have just released. It is a free numerology quiz called Uncover the Hidden Patterns Shaping Your Life. And all you need is your date of birth. Here is what you're going to walk away with: your life path number, the curriculum you came here to master, and clarity on the hidden pattern that has been quietly running your life without you even knowing it was there. Because once you can see it, you can stop blaming yourself for it. You realize it was never a you problem. It was just a pattern you hadn't seen clearly yet. And once you can see it, you can actually do something about it. One of my clients said it best. She said, Anniston didn't just tell me about my path, she helped me remember it. That is what this quiz does. The link is in the show notes. It is free and it is worth every minute. Now back to the episode. So that is your personal year number. Now let's dive into the collective picture. So the bigger container we're all sitting inside of this year, in numerology, 2026 is what's called a universal year 1. You get there by adding the digits 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 6. That comes out to 10. Then the 10 reduces down to 1. And a 1 year is exactly what it sounds like. It's a beginning, a reset for all of us. It's identity, it's self-reliance, it's who am I building myself into now? And this year, that 1 energy isn't showing up alone. We're also in the year of the fire horse in Chinese astrology, which is rare. It only comes around once every 60 years, I believe. The last one was around 1966. The horse on its own is already about forward motion, freedom, not wanting to be held back. And add fire to that, and you get something bold and fast and instinct driven. But I want to be really clear about something, because it's easy to hear fire horse and picture just running, like speed for speed's sake. And that's not actually what this is about. The kind of passion this year is asking for is soul level. It's about doing what you were actually born to do, coming back into alignment with who you actually are underneath everything you've been performing or defaulting to, fully remembering yourself, putting yourself back together, all those parts that you were dismembered consciously or unconsciously because you didn't think that they were okay or approved of or worthwhile. And I really mean that literally, putting yourself back together, readmitting all of those parts of you. that have been begging to have a seat back at your table, to become a part of your I am again, your identity again. So you actually have everything that you need to complete what you're here to do, because when you are whole, you came fully designed and prepared with everything that you need to fulfill your purpose. It's when we cut parts of ourselves off that we feel incapable, we feel like we're missing something, and that's what we're missing is ourself. So here's the thing, nobody really warns you once you come back into alignment. It can look messy from the outside. Like, it can be super confronting and confusing, sometimes genuinely scary when you're going through this process of really truly remembering who you are authentically and then living and leaning into that. And also, at the exact same time, it's exhilarating as F. Like, there's this undertone of what's going to happen now. Things are changing because I'm changing. And what does this mean? And I think at our core, it helps us to feel alive in a way that nothing else will. I know people, myself included, who have done a full 180 this year. New jobs, new homes, new relationships, new identities. I know women who are speaking their truth for the first time in their lives. I know people who are finally letting themselves get curious about parts of their faith that never quite fit, that they'd been keeping quiet about for years and self silencing. More people than ever are asking why, actually asking it out loud instead of just going along with the group. And on a bigger scale, disclosure keeps showing up as a theme too. Deep, hidden truths coming into the light about our government, our leaders, the systems and structures we've all been operating inside of without question. It has been a lot. So when you put those two things together, a numerological 1 year and a fire horse year, what you get is a year that basically dares you to act, not to overthink, not to wait for permission, to move on instinct and to start building something. If your year has felt intense or fast or like things got activated whether you were ready or not, that is why. And if you look at what's actually unfolded so far this year, you can see that energy playing out in real time. Like in February, we had a Saturn Neptune conjunction at 0 degrees Aries. Astrologers are calling that a Genesis point, a once in a lifetime placement right at the very start of the zodiac. It's a strange pairing because Saturn is structure and Neptune is the unseen, the spiritual, the dissolved. And together, they've been stirring up this demand for institutions and leaders that are actually both accountable and compassionate, not just one or the other. Then in April, Uranus moved into Gemini, where it's going to sit for the next 7 years, shifting how information and ideas move through the culture. And at the end of June, Jupiter moved into Leo, bringing more generous, creative fire energy into the back half of the year. Put it all together, and the through line for 2026 so far has been acceleration, innovation, old structures cracking open, and underneath all of it, a real demand for authenticity, for things and people to actually be what they say they are. So here are a few questions I want you to sit with. These are questions that I use with my clients. And as far as I'm concerned right now, as you're listening, I'm here to support you. It's just me and you. And I'm asking you these questions, and this is for you. So don't rush past these. If you need to, pause the episode after I see each one. And afterwards, we'll jump into what 2027 holds for you. So, first question: where is your intuition trying to lead you, and you're still asking logic for permission? Pause if you need to and write this down. Maybe you can do this during your morning quiet time or priming, or just sit and answer now. Where is your intuition trying to lead you, and you're still asking logic for permission? The second question: where have you been going it alone? That's actually about to need a we. Like, where have you been lone wolfing, trying to shoulder everything and not actually thinking about who could support me here or who could I partner with here? And third, what have you been pushing through that your body has actually been asking you to slow down for? This might be an emotion, a feeling, an unprocessed, undigested experience of your past. It could be a current situation or relationship that needs your presence and needs your ability to feel so you can bring it back into balance. Just let those sit for a minute. We're going to come back around to some of this in a minute, but I do want to go ahead and start previewing something now because I think it's important you have some runway with this before it arrives. 2027 is a universal year 11. Yep, you got that right. It's a master number. So it adds up to 11. And because it's a master number, we don't reduce it. So you get there the same way 2 plus 0, 2 plus 7. That's 11. And 11 doesn't reduce down further because it's what's called a master number. It holds its own charge. I've been calling 2027 the year of intuition. Some numerology circles are calling it the year of illumination. Both are getting at the same thing. Hans Dekaz, who's one of the most respected names in modern numerology, describes the master number 11 as carrying everything the number 2 carries, but turned way up. He calls it the most intuitive number there is, a channel to the subconscious. He literally calls it the psychic's number. And here's the part I think matters most for us. 11 is built from 2 ones. But when you add those together, you land back on 2, which means the relational thread doesn't disappear in 2027. It actually deepens. The we, partnership, working together instead of white knuckling it solo. And it's not just numerology saying this. Separate astrological forecasts for 2027, completely outside of numerology, are independently landing on that same theme: partnership, togetherness. That's a real convergence, and it's worth paying attention to. So, heightened intuition and a deepening of the we. That's the headline for 2027. It's worth mentioning what's happening in Chinese astrology too, because it tells the same story from a completely different angle. 2027 is the year of the fire goat. Not quite as sexy as the fire horse, but the fire goat. Chinese New Year lands on February 6th, and where the horse is about charging forward, the goat has a more gentle approach. It's more harmonious. It symbolizes beauty and artistic endeavors. It's kindness and grace, not speed. So even the zodiac is telling us 2026 was the run. 2027 is where that energy softens into cooperation. There's more to it too. Numerologists are also pointing to 2027 as a year of cooperation and diplomacy, not just in our personal relationships, but between groups, between countries. My gosh, we need that. It's a year that rewards receptivity over force, slowing down enough to actually notice what's being illuminated right now instead of pushing through it. And astrologically, there's a lot on the calendar. Saturn keeps disciplining Aries, Pluto stays in Aquarius, Uranus keeps moving through Gemini. So 2027 doesn't reset what 2026 started, it actually just refines it. Jupiter shifts out of Leo and into Virgo at the end of July 2027, trading big, expressive fire energy for something more grounded and service-oriented. Uranus and Pluto move into a trine in June, which astrologers are linking to a real acceleration in innovation and technology. And then in August of 2027, there's a total solar eclipse people are already calling the eclipse of the century, the longest one of its kind we'll see in our lifetimes anyway, cutting across Spain, North Africa, Egypt, and the Arabian Peninsula. And if you look at human design, 2027 isn't just another year. It's being talked about as a genuinely massive one. February 15th marks the end of a 412-year cycle that's been running since 1615, called the Cross of Planning. That's the era of top-down systems, structured society, leaning on external authority to tell us what's true and what's next. What opens up after that is called the Cross of the Sleeping Phoenix, and it runs all the way to 2438. You guys hear me correctly? 2438. It's about individual sovereignty, self-reliance, trusting your own authority instead of an outside one. Human design also talks about this as the moment the solar plexus, which is around your gut, our emotional awareness center, comes fully online for the species. For the species, which means collectively, we're moving towards knowing things through feeling, through frequency, not just logic. And let me circle back to what I'm calling 2027, the age of intuition. And here's why. But I don't want to leave this in the abstract because what does heightened intuition actually mean for your day-to-day life? I think it means moving from the head into the heart, And that brings up some things people don't always associate with intuition: embodiment, nervous system regulation, choosing regulation over hustling yourself into burnout. Here's what I really want you to hear: your nervous system is on the front line of every shift that happens in your life. It processes change before your conscious mind even catches up. Before you can name what's happening, your body already knows something's different. That is not woo, that's just how we're wired. So, heading into a year like this, the practice isn't more information. It's not more podcasts, more books, more input. It's dropping into your body and actually asking it what it needs right now. Not what your mind thinks you should want, what your body is actually asking for. And part of this is learning to recognize when you're integrating something, because integration has signs. Sometimes it looks like needing to stabilize after new information, after a transition, after change on basically every level at once. It's not a malfunction. It's actually your system doing exactly what it's supposed to do. I want to tell you something that happened to me recently because it taught me this in a way no book could have. Mercury has been retrograde, at least until the time of recording this, until yesterday in Cancer. And I had this experience that was honestly pretty surreal. I had, for at least 4 to 6 weeks, zero appetite for consuming information, for listening to other people's voices, which, if you know me, for those of you who know me, you know that that is not my normal mode of operating. I love podcasts. I love audiobooks. Anything inspirational, I am there. That's usually my forte, my whole thing. But during this retrograde, I was on a road trip driving for 40 plus hours. I tried to do what I normally do: put something on, listen, absorb, distract myself. And I got completely dysregulated every time that I tried. Like, my body couldn't tolerate it. My heart rate would increase. I would start to feel anxious, stressed. What my body wanted instead was silence and stillness. So I gave it that. I sat in silence for over 40 hours over the course of several weeks. And even when I got to where I was going, I was in Bozeman. I thought, okay, maybe I'll put on a guided meditation, ease back in. But that's not what I was guided towards. I was guided to sit outside in silence, to sit in nature and just be. And that is what genuinely, legitimately sounded good to my body in that moment, and what I really wanted to do. What I actually wanted was to sit outside, sip my coffee, and just be in silence. That's the whole lesson, honestly. I think we think that what our body is wanting is going to be in total contradiction to what we really want to do. What was in contradiction for me was what my body wanted, was in contradiction to my habit, was in contradiction to past behavior. And I had to allow my body to win that, to win that argument. And because I did, I was able to make this transition with such ease and such grace and staying stabilized and regulated the entire time. Whereas I actually believe if I had not listened and I had pushed through and I had done what was against what my body was guiding me to do, that dysregulation, feeling stressed, anxious, and probably creating a lot of chaos in my life would have happened because of that. There are going to be so many more shifts coming, more changes on every single level, and that's just where we are. And where you put your focus and how much you actually prioritize your own well being through all of it is going to dictate your experience of it, not the shifts themselves, your relationship to them. This is why I had the inspiration to start the Embody Her membership in the fall. I'll be opening the doors and starting it in September. And the reason being because, well, number one, I follow astrology, I follow numerology, I follow what is happening in the collective, and I know where we're headed. And what we all need right now, sisters, is not a library of books. What we need is embodiment. We need not only to understand and to see and be aware of our divine blueprint, our divine assignments and missions in our life, the patterns that we're here to work through and master. That awareness is key and it's a first step. But now we've actually got to live it, because the universe, God, our creator, is asking for nothing less than to embody our original design. And the benefit of doing that is fulfillment, happiness, joy, ease, abundance, so much. But we have to get this embodiment piece down. and being integrated, learning how to tap into your intuition daily, to move your awareness down from your head into your heart is all a part of it. So as we head toward this 11 year, the deepening of the we, I would love to hear from you. And I would love to hear what is coming up from you, even now, based on what you've experienced in 2026. Anchor that, share that, whether it be with me or share this episode with one of your friends or family members, and then you guys talk about it. The more that you start vocalizing what your experience has been and gleaning the purpose and the good out of all of those situations, the more prepared you'll be to step into 2027 and really harness the power and the energy of what we're being invited into, which again, self sovereignty. I will be dropping more information about Embody Her, and I will make sure there's a link for you to get on the wait list so that you'll be the first to know when doors open. It's going to be the first of its kind. I'm bringing my A game to this to ensure that this is a space for like minded women who are dedicated and devoted to their mission to be able to fully embody her. Not only to know who she is, but to embody the fullest, highest, most unbelievably whole version of yourself. And I'll be walking along with you on that path and providing tools, providing teachers, providing embodiment practices, things that you can do in your day to day. So I am so excited about this program. I am so excited about this membership. And I will be giving you information shortly. So thank you again for tuning in today. And I cannot wait to connect with you on next week's episode.
Thank you for being here, beautiful soul. If this episode spoke to you, I'd love for you to pass it along to another woman who might need these words today. And if you feel called, it would mean so much if you would take a moment to rate and review this podcast. It's one of the best ways to support this work and help these messages reach more women who are ready to remember who they are. And if you'd like to stay connected or share what's landing for you, come find me over on Instagram. I'd love to meet you there. Until next time, keep trusting your rhythm. Keep honoring your voice and keep becoming the woman you were always meant to be.